I'm filming over here because my desk over there is a total mess from all the homework and school work that I should be doing right now because it's due next week, but I haven't got done yet, and I'm probably not going to get done on time. Moving on. So, in a video I made a while ago now, because I've been away and things have happened and I like to make excuses. In a video I did a while ago on ideas of self in Eastern and Western thought, I mentioned about Plato and his theory of forms. I said I would make a video on it, so here's the video. So let us start by summarising Plato. Plato was one of the first three philosophers that are really considered philosophers in Western thought. Socrates, Plato and Aristotle. So Plato was the second of these, and he is thought to be one of the most influential philosophers in ever. So Plato, he lived from 427 to 347 BCE, before Common Era, or BC, before Christ, depending on which time period you're used to using. He was a student of Socrates. All of Western philosophy is a footnote to Plato, A.N. Whitehead. Now, he had two major, closely linked theories: the world of forms and the analogy of the cave. The analogy of the cave, though, is basically an analogy explaining the world of forms, so they're basically the same thing. The theory of forms is considered one of the most influential in all of philosophical history. Let's start with an activity. This is how we were first introduced to the idea in class. Please draw a dog, and if you want to get involved, please do. So please draw a dog and label its qualities. This is what I drew the first time. He kind of resembles my own dog. Come then! What we did then was we compared our dog with the person next to us. The ideas that we would have would be that all dogs people have drawn will have key features such as ears, whether they be straight or floppy, or a tail, whether it be fluffy or small, or whether they have loads and loads of fur, whether like a Labrador, whether they're small or whether they're big, because there are so many different versions of a dog. One of the questions was then raised: how can you define a dog while eliminating all other possibilities? Because if you said it's a small animal with fur, that could be a cat. If you said it's a small animal that barks, well, many other animals bark. But that's where Plato comes in. He says, even though we can't define anything while eliminating all of the possibilities, he says we can still recognise it because of this world of forms. Now, a form is the perfect, eternal, unchanging version of everything. So, say the form of a dog is the perfect version of a dog in this world of forms. The idea is that everything in this world is just a shadow, an imperfection, a bad replication, which is why everything here is changing, because it tries to be like the form but it can't, because it's all imperfect models. What is the difference between our world, which is the material world, and the world of forms? Well, the material world is made of matter. The world of forms is immaterial. It is supposedly a world of ideas and thoughts. Our world is eternally changing. It is always moving from one thing to another. We age, food rots. But the world of forms, everything is unchanging, and everything in the world of forms lasts forever. Nothing contradicts itself. Recognising forms. How do we recognise forms? Well, Plato had this idea that when we die, our immortal souls go to the world of forms between lives. He explains this in a story known as the myth of So, it's this idea of a warrior who died, and then his body was about to be put on a stake, but he wakes up just in time to tell of his journey to the afterlife. So when he went to the afterlife, there were judges and openings into the sky and openings into the ground, and souls came from the sky and recounted their wonderful experiences in the world of forms, where everything is perfect and beautiful. Then bad souls came from the ground and said how terrible they were being in the earth, and then all the souls lined up and picked a new life, and then each soul was assigned to a god who would help them out in their new life. Then each soul was required to drink from the river of Lethe, something, and they forgot everything about their lives. In their sleep, their soul was lifted and taken to their new life. So, this idea is that when we die, our souls, if we're good enough, will be taken to the world of forms, and that is how we can recognise the world here. There is an idea Plato had, another idea he had loads of ideas, he's pretty cool. He thought that when we learn, we aren't learning, we are remembering what we learnt already in the world of forms or in our previous lives. So learning anything at all is just remembering your past stuff that you've forgotten. There is this other part of it called the hierarchy of forms. The best form, the form that tops all the other perfect things, and that is the form of the good. Back to the hierarchy of forms. The form of the good, the only way you can get to the form of the good, the only way you can recognise the form of the good, is by using your intellect and by using your reason. So, and asking questions. So the whole idea is that philosophy, we're supposed to let go of all our thoughts and beliefs from this world, and the only way we can then learn the truth is if we treat this world as a lie. And that's what Plato did. He kind of thought everything in this world is completely wrong and everything's... Yes, I'm not sure I agree completely with that, but he believes this world is nothing. We have to forget all about it in order to know the form of the good and to find the world of forms. Now, is there any evidence for this world of forms? Well, there is plenty of evidence. In recent years, near-death experiences have shown that there is possibly an afterlife. So that suggests possibly our idea of and going to this world of forms. I like the idea of where each soul was assigned to a god, because that kind of suits my beliefs a bit. Just gonna say. My battery died. Why is it so difficult to make a video? Okay, as I was saying, the fact that each soul is assigned to God I think is amazing, because that kind of suits my sort of views of gods, because I believe that everyone has their own God, which is why we have different views on God. We would explain why people have different views about the Christian God or the Islamic God, or why people have different beliefs between religions. Just think it'd be great. So more evidence. Many people believe that they are not their body. So, you know, sometimes you just kind of feel like you're trapped inside your body. No? Maybe? Yes? That sort of feeling is supposed to also back up why people think that perhaps we aren't our body and we're our soul, and that our soul could go to the afterlife and look at all the forms. Strengths and weaknesses, that's the last bit I promise. Yeah, from school, just a little table right there where I'm making my notes. So okay, criticisms, we'll start with that. So, it is very far-fetched. No evidence. How can there be anything other than this world? Some people are materialists, they believe that this world is everything there is. And that's a pretty valid point. Does there really have to be a world where our thoughts make up everything and there's a perfect version of everything? And because that seems pretty unreal. This is the best world, how can it get any better? Well, the world of forms is beyond our understanding, so yeah, it shouldn't exist. Strengths! Lots of people believe it. Well, we can't actually disprove it. Well, only philosophers and reason can understand it. Well, that's a bit elitist, don't you think? Well, to be fair, Plato did like to think that the world should be governed by all philosophers, and yes, so that philosophers should be the rulers because they are the smart ones. So The last strength is that cannot be kind of faulted, is that it did inspire 2,000 years worth of philosophy. So that is something, whether you believe in the rest or not. So this has been another really messy video. What am I doing with my life? My name is Emily Chase and thank you for watching this weird video on Plato's World of Forms. If you would like me to do any other videos on Plato, perhaps the analogy of the cave, just so I can kind of set it out, or the myth of in more detail, or anything philosophy, or whether you just want me to go back to singing covers and stuff. And no, I can't sing, but you know, perhaps that. So anything, just comment. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.